Hello to one and all, and I just want to welcome my new subscribers and just I'm thanking God for each and every one of you guys. I am so grateful for the support, in posting the videos and to just have persons support by liking and watching the video and even sharing the video. I'm so grateful to one and all. I'm grateful for those that really just take the time out to watch the video to the end. Been you have been just so supportive towards what the Lord is doing through me, and I'm really grateful for that. Today I'm here with an encouraging word, and this word is really about the wisdom that I've learned over the years, and how much it can also encourages you as well, to be able to walk and observe these things that I have learned over the years. And guys, I'm in my 40s, so it has been a while, and I have learned. I really take the time out to examine myself from time to time, and it helped me to see these things. You can't change grown people. You can't change grown people. When you really look at it, many a times, even when we're in relationships, I remember when I'm in my 20s and I would have my partner, and he has ways that I don't like. I really thought that I could have changed him. Your family members, you really think that you can change them, but once someone is grown, once the person past 5 years old, that is it. There's not much you can do, because even the child start to develop its character from 0 to 4 or 5, and so it's really hard to really bend that person. Just like you have trees, once you start to grow and it reach a particular stage, you realize that the tree is not going to bend again. So I have a few. So what I would do a part 1, and then I do a part 2. This is gonna be very long if I do it long, right? That's 1. 2, I don't have to argue. I don't have to have an argument over everything. So I don't have to have an argument over everything. Back then in my 20s, I would argue about everything. Because you don't see the person thoughts as the way how they see it, and you want to put your input, and you want your input to be the right input, so it always bring about an argument. So sometimes some learning over the years, I realized that, okay, Angela, you can give up your right and move along, especially if you're walking with the Lord. He gives you this grace to just move on and walk away from all of that argument. So 3, listening is very important. Listening is important. Many a times we don't listen. We posture ourselves like we're listening, but we're not really receiving anything that the individual is actually saying. Especially nowadays, persons are on their phone a lot, so when you talk, it's like it's going through one ears and coming back through the other. No, you just have to really for me, I pray about everything, guys. I pray about everything. Yeah, I pray about everything. And you hear more when you listen. When you really take the time out to listen, what you're not only listening, but you're pulling yourself to that place of observation, deep analysis of whatever has been said, right? and now you're processing to interpret and know how to really better release an answer to that individual or to those individual. 4, learning about myself and building my self-worth. Learning about myself and building my self-worth. You know, I struggle so much over the years when it comes to my self-esteem and my worth, because it's really hard even growing up and small, and you don't really, it's important that you commend your children, commend them. You know, if they do something, you really encourage them that well done. And if you see that they can do it a little more better, you can be stern, but you know, you have some compassion in how you help them to be rounded and to be confident in what they're doing. So I suffer over the years when it comes to self-worth and self-esteem, confidence. You know, the self-esteem is somewhat weak, but I develop as time goes by, and I learn about myself, I learn about my weaknesses. Guys, it's very important that you know your weak areas, you know where you're weak, and you build on that weakness. You know, you're not gonna always be perfect in everything that you do, but it is vital that you said, okay, I'm strong in this, I am weak in that. I'm gonna have to spend a little more time building up this weak area and pray about it and pray about it, you know, and see how better I can really move forward in this weakness. And for a person like me that over the years I've been afflicted in so many ways, you know, everywhere I turn there's always something that is going wrong, and sometimes it's like it just don't, it's not natural. You know, I believe I've gone under a lot of spiritual attack, and I truly associate it with the purpose that God has called me on this earth to do. You know, so even with that attack from spiritual, you know, spiritual entities, you know, it helped to pull you back a lot. And when you get pulled back a lot, you suffer when it comes to your worth. But I'm saying thank God today that I am not where I used to be, and I am more confident. When it comes to no, back then it was hard for me to say no, because I really think that I would feel guilty if I say no. So there was something that was fighting me to not say no. And guys, there are yes and there are no's. So if you are struggling in an area wherein you cannot say no, you know that something is wrong, you know. And I am really thankful to God that He has brought me to this place where I can actually say no. I can say no. If I don't want to, I can say no. I can stand in authority to say that I don't want this. I am not going to settle for this, right? And the fifth one, trust me guys, I have 20. I have 20, but I'm going to do it in 2 parts. The fifth one says, silence is best sometimes. Silence is best sometimes. I hope I haven't. Okay. Silence is best sometimes. You know, some seasons you have to know your seasons. So you're gonna have to evaluate your life and know where you're at in your life. Just like how you have Ecclesiastic 3, and it tells you about the different seasons that is in your life. As I was looking at even that scripture the other day, and I was looking to say that the seasons are so important, and God has given us the grace to actually embrace the different seasons, even in death. You know, he gives this comfort, he brings this comfort to you so that you can overcome, you know, the obstacles that now besetting you through bereavement, you know. And so listening, silence is great sometimes in that particular season, that because that is a season wherein you're not talking much, you're kind of locking off from all the social media and the internet thing, wherein now you're gonna listen more to the natural stream of life, and to be able to make better decision as you listen. So listening is important, and we need to develop that habit of really listening. And so even too, you know, we get to discern the atmosphere and what is taking place in it, and we also learn developing discernment as well. So listening is important, having confidence when making decision, and I think this is something that I know I have confidence when it comes to making decision, because I I think that I think confidence is something that I definitely work on a lot over the years, because I was like, I'm not gonna just sit here because nothing is gonna happen here. And I move in faith a lot. And if you want to walk in faith, if you want to stand in faith, and remember guys, it's impossible to please God if we don't have faith. And if we don't have confidence, we're not going to move in faith. So I walk in faith a lot, and if I don't have confidence, I won't be able to move off into faith as I ought to, right? 7, the 7th one. Hurt is a part of life. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. Hurt, hurt, hurt. I coming up with these words, of wisdom that learned. It's really just looking at my life and what I have learned over the years, right? And see that, yes, and Angela, you have been hurt, but you don't have, this is why I said press past the insults until you get the results, because if you stay at that hurt place, you won't get to embrace the next seasons. I can only imagine with trees when they're losing their leaves, it's painful to some extent, because now this was something attached to them, but it was ordained that there comes this season where they're gonna fall their leaves, right? And even with pruning, sometimes the hurt that we're feeling is really God pruning us, because when we're people that if we get used to something, it's hard for it to move away from our lives. So we have great issues with letting go, so that pruning is, that hurt can also mean that God is pruning you. He's allowing you to be cut off from certain things in order for you to come up fresh and be where you ought to be. And patience, the Bible says patience is a virtue. In order to have patience, you're gonna be tested, right? Because when you want to go, there's something that blocks you, that you cannot move, and so you have to wait. And in that waiting period, you're gonna have to just say, Lord, teach me what I need to learn. And sometimes you do learn a lot if you really want to learn, because I do believe that we can learn from everything. And for me, it works well with me in learning from just about anything and everything I learn. And it gives me that motivation to press on and to not stop and stuck in that one place, because I want to experience something new. So I'm going to move to part 2.